Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another devlog for Striking Gold, my first indie game that I have been working on for the last few months. It's been a little bit since the last upload, and that is just due to a numerous amount of reasons that I'm not going to go too much in depth about. But I did move to a new home, which you might have recognized by the new desk setup. So we were worrying about that, trying to get settled into the new home, and then obviously the holidays and everything like that, where I was setting up Christmas lights and whatnot on the new house. Definitely took up a lot of time, and then I was even sick for a few weeks, so I'm back on the grind now, though. We are ready to start working on Striking Gold again, and let's go ahead and show you the progress so far. In the last devlog, I showcased the new wood storage building where you store the wood that the miners collect, as well as reworked how the miners worked in general, adding vacant buildings and the ability to control your own main character. And then we finished off with allowing the player to spectate the main character as well. After adding the spectate option to the main character in the last video, somebody left a comment basically telling me ways to improve it a little bit better, as well as adding a favorite character section so you can track your favorite characters. And I really enjoyed this comment, so I actually pretty much started developing this almost immediately because I was intrigued to see if I could do something. So this is the first attempt at me making a favorite system. So I added this little icon here on the menu that if you click it, it will add that specific character to a favorite icon that pops up on the top left here, which then you can click and it will kind of bring you to that character and spectate them like we had previously. I then added the ability to mark several different NPCs as favorites, up to 3 in this video. I think I ended up going up to 5 total NPCs that you can favorite, and that seems to be a good amount. Any more than that would just seem a little bit overwhelming, so you can kind of remove them and add new NPCs as time goes on. But after this, I started going down a giant rabbit hole of trying to perfect the spectate option. As you can see here, sometimes, obviously, if something's in the way of your spectate, you can't really see your character, and it just didn't feel right. So I went through several attempts at trying to perfect this spectate mode. I tried several different options. As you can see here, this spectate mode allows the player to rotate the camera fully even though he's spectating. The issue was I was having the camera was not centering on the character. Sometimes the character, as you can see if you sped it up, would get out of focus and the camera just kind of dragged behind it. So I scratched this and moved on to something else. So instead of rotating the camera, if a building or an object was blocking the character, it would just outline the character as such, and that was what I kept it at for a while until I figured something else out, which I did end up fixing this to what is pretty much perfect at the moment. But I went through several attempts. I even went through an attempt to kind of make some of these meshes invisible if they were blocking them, but the issue is some of these buildings are one solid mesh, so it would just turn the entire building invisible. So when the character was like walking on a porch or something, it would look like he was floating in air, so that didn't work either. To keep my mind fresh, I wanted to move on to something else until I came up with a better solution for the spectate mode. So one thing that I really wanted to fix that has been pretty wonky since the start of the project, which you might not notice it too much just from watching these videos, but the camera movement itself, you might be able to notice it. It has been reworked. So this is what it looks like now. It is a lot smoother than what it was previously. Before, it was kind of like blocky and kind of jumpy if you were moving around, and it just kind of didn't look too pleasing. And now the camera can't clip through any of these mountains or whatnot like it could previously. I never showcased that to you guys in the videos, but you could pretty much clip through almost any object in the game previously, but now the camera will not allow you to pretty much go through anything at the moment, and it's a lot smoother transition from when you're moving around. So like I said, you might not be able to tell it too much on the video, but it's definitely something I wanted to include because I spent a little bit of time working on this as well, and now the camera movement, I think, is a lot better. You can also get a lot closer views on things as well. So the next thing that I started working on was work schedules for the NPCs. At the moment, they just kind of wander the town all day long with no resting. So I need to implement some type of schedule, and I'm going to go through this as best as I can and try to explain it without rambling on too much. But essentially, they work at the moment from 0-100 hours to, or 0-100 hours to 700 hours is when they're sleeping. Then they work for 12 hours, and then they go to the bank, which I'll explain a little bit more here in a second, and then they have some free time before bed. So this is just going to make the town feel a little bit more structured with the schedule. It's definitely something that needed to be done, but as you can see here, the worker's done with his work schedule, and now he is making his way to the bank. So the bank is one of those buildings that literally had zero purpose to it up until now. I found a good use for it, so now there is an actual reason to utilize this bank. You essentially need the bank to pay the miners. So at the end of the day, the miners collect all of these ores during their work shift that goes straight to the town. But at the end of the day, they're going to go to the bank to collect the money that they are owed for all of the ores they have obtained. So if they go into the bank and you don't have any money to pay them, then their happiness is going to go down, and that's going to cause some issues throughout the town. So you kind of want to ensure to have some money in order to pay your miners. So that's basically the thought process behind that bank. But after they get their payment through the bank, they basically have some free time on their work schedule. At the moment, this miner's walking all the way over here to this cabin to visit it for whatever reason. And now, once it hits 2,300 hours, he is going to go back home and sleep for the rest of the night and rinse and repeat. So that is the current schedule for the miner. And I do need to start obviously implementing schedules for all the other NPCs. As you can see, they're all still wandering the town endlessly, and also probably need to work on a day-night cycle, because obviously if all the NPCs are sleeping and it's daylight out, that will probably look a little funky. So that's probably something I'll be working on in the future, but the miner officially has a work schedule. So I'm going to start tackling a few things that have been neglected in this game for far too long, and I'm sure you could probably guess those two main things. One of them being what you hear now, which is absolutely nothing, and that is because the game has no sound in it. Definitely a big part of game is sound. Sound definitely makes the world of difference in a game, so that's something I want to start implementing. I really have never done that before in a game. Again, this is my first game, so it's going to be quite interesting to see where I can get a hold of all of these sounds, or if I can make them myself or whatnot. But I do want to start implementing sound into the game. And then another thing is this atrocious HUD that you guys have been forced to stare at through all 9 devlogs so far. I do apologize for that, but I have also been having to stare at it probably longer than you have, so I am definitely tired of staring at it as well. I've already started to implement this in adding new HUD to the game, and so far it's turning out quite nice. You are not going to see it just quite yet, because I would like to make an entire separate video showcasing the new HUD and potentially sounds. I have no idea if I'm going to tackle that yet, but make sure you guys stay tuned for that. For now though, I'm going to start working on creating the new HUD. This is definitely going to probably take me a while to finish up. I know this was a shorter bit of a video for you guys than I normally post. However, I will be releasing another devlog very soon, and that again will be the HUD. So stay tuned for that. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'd like to hit 1,000 subscribers very soon. Also, make sure to go wishlist Striking Gold on Steam. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.